so sick of these stickers. What does that say? It's hard to read. Ugh. I hate stickers so much. Can't believe I said that. I love stickers, just not on books. Hi guys, it's Kayla here. Welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to do a book haul. It's been a while since I've had a book haul, and I think it was because I was kind of guilty. I felt guilty about buying books, but I love going to this used book sale that my local library does every Friday. They have this like little building, and they have all of these used books, donated books, books that have kind of been retired from the library, and they sell them for super cheap, like super cheap. I got 12 books today. I got 12 books today, and for a total of $7.50. So that is a deal. So anyways, I'm going to show you what I got. I feel like I got some good stuff. And so usually I take my bag with me. I have all kinds of bags. So usually I take a bag with me because I'm like, okay, you know, just in case I get a good bundle and it's too big for my arms, I'll have a bag, right? Today, I don't know what I was thinking. I think I was like, well, you know, I'm just going to see what I find, and, you know, at max I'll probably have 5 books. Yeah, that didn't happen, so I was not prepared. So they do give you, like, they have these, like, little, like, grocery bags, but they're so thin, and, like, with as many books as I had, the lady was looking at my pile, and she was like, yeah, this isn't going to work. We got to give you a box. So that's what they did. They had to give me a box. Look at this. This is my box. My box of books. And it's heavy. Because a few of the ones I found, they were really heavy. So we're just going to start. So I found some really good stuff. According to her little calculations, I got 3 books of nonfiction and 9 books of fiction. So let's just start on a quite depressing note. I found this book, Goebbels, a biography by Peter Longerich. This is a biography about Joseph Goebbels. I think that's his name. He was a really bad guy when it comes to the Holocaust. And yeah, Joseph, I was right. So apparently, I mean, I recognize the Holocaust is a subject that I am always reading about and I'm always interested in. And one thing I am curious about is about the big key players the ones that created the Holocaust. And I want to learn more about them, what they think, what makes them tick, why they did what they did. You know, I don't know. Am I really going to read this giant book? I don't know. I mean, worst comes to worst, at least I have it for reference purposes, you know? But who knows? I mean, I might. Jeez. Okay, so, oh, these are just, I wanted to see. Okay, so it looks like 707 pages. This is a biography. And let me read you the inside. I mean, it has a nice cover and everything. I think that's Hitler. Or it might not be Hitler. So anyways, let me read you the inside, and then you can kind of get an idea. So it says, from renowned German Holocaust historian Peter Longerich comes the definitive 1-volume biography of Adolf Hitler's malevolent minister of propaganda. In life and in the grisly manner of his death, Joseph Goebbels was one of Adolf Hitler's most loyal acolytes. By the end, no one in the Berlin bunker was closer to the Führer than his devoted Reich minister for public enlightenment and propaganda. But how did this club-footed son of a factory worker rise from obscurity to become Hitler's most trusted lieutenant and personally anointed successor? So, and there's like a whole bunch more. So it's about the guy who basically ran the propaganda, and that is a huge deal. Not only was it a huge deal during the Holocaust, I mean, all of the newsreels and all of the bullshit that they would feed their own country, the countries of, like, you know, they would show they would show Jewish people in very horrible lights and kind of like manipulate, you know, imagery and stuff like that to make people believe that the Jewish people were awful human beings, which is ridiculous. And the scary thing is that propaganda, this kind of propaganda, is kind of the stuff that goes on today with ISIS. So I know that ISIS, they do that too. They create propaganda in all kinds of ways. And there are a few times where people, even in our country, they'll fall victim to this propaganda and kind of idolize it, and then they go on and you know, do terrorist attacks and awful things. So propaganda can be so dangerous, and Goebbels, you know, was a dangerous figure, and you know, so I'm very interested in reading this, and at least reading parts of it at the very least. I mean, I honestly don't know if my brain could handle 707 pages straight, but I mean, it's not impossible. But like I said, at the least, this will add to my history collection, my true crime Holocaust collection of books, and it's at worst comes to worst, it can be a reference. So, and the other interesting thing said, this author, this historian said that I mean, obviously he used a lot of sources to get this material, but he did say that that 30,000 pages of Goebbels' own diary entries was stuff that Peter Longerich read through and took his information from. 30,000 pages of diary entries. I mean, when I read that, I was like, I'm getting this, because that is gold when it comes to trying to understand the mind of a person, especially someone like, you know, such an evil person like this. To me, straight from the mouth, you know, it's like, that'll give me a really good insight into who he was and why he was so awful. But anyways, big one. So, yeah, start off with that one. Oh, a book I was excited about is this one, The Anatomy of Motive by John Douglas and Mark Olshaker. If you don't already know, I'm a John Douglas fan. I've read his Mindhunter book. Let me take this off my true crime shelf. So I've read Mindhunter by John Douglas and Mark Olshaker, and this was so good. I reviewed this book, and I will link it somewhere. I'll link it in the description box below. So this was really good. He's written many books, and this was another one. It's called The Anatomy of Motive. So, and it says, the FBI's legendary Mindhunter explores the key to understanding and catching violent criminals. So, the inside, it says, every crime is a mystery story with a motive at its heart. Understand the motive, and you can solve the mystery. The Anatomy of Motive offers a dramatic, insightful look at the development and evolution of the criminal mind. The famed former chief of the FBI's Investigative Support Unit, Douglas was the pioneer of modern behavioral profiling of serial criminals. Working again with acclaimed novelist, journalist, and filmmaker Mark Olshaker, the collaborator on his previous 3 bestsellers, and using cases from his own fabled career as examples, Douglas takes us further than ever before into the dark corners of the minds of arsonists, hijackers, bombers, poisoners, serial and spree killers, and mass murderers. So, while Mindhunter was kind of like a catch-all, and I think that was his first book, so there was a lot in it. This is more condensed and more focused on like a singular kind of topic, which is motive. And that's fascinating. I get to add this to my true crime section. I'm so excited. I get to read another John Douglas, and so this one, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. This was published in 1999. Okay, I'm super excited to read this, and I'm glad I got the hardback. It's in really good condition, and it's all about motive, and I'm really excited. So hopefully I learn even more about profiling and all that really good true crime juicy stuff. So yeah, I'm really excited about that one. Bam! To the box. And this is my little receipt. It says, this is how they mark what books to give. So I had 9 books at 50 cents and 3 books at $1. So nonfiction's a little bit more expensive, but yeah, so there's that. Okay, so the next book I got, some of the books I got were kind of, I was on the fence about, but I picked them up anyway because I was like, they're so cheap, and you never know, right? So this book I got, I don't know if you can see it, it's kind of hard to see, but it says, The Classic Tale That Became a Legend, Sweeney Todd, the Demon Barber of Fleet Street. Edited by Robert L. Mack. But why doesn't it have like, oh god, that's weird. Maybe it's like a combination of a bunch of, I don't know. Let me read you the back. Okay, so, ladies and gentlemen, I have to state that Mrs. Lovett's pies are made of human flesh. This shocking announcement provides the stunning denouement to a narrative first published over a period of 4 months in the winter of 1846 to 1847. The revelation marked only the beginning, however, of the notorious career of Sweeney Todd, soon known to legend as the Demon Barber of London's Fleet Street. The story of Todd's entrepreneurial partnership with neighboring pie maker Marjorie Lovett, at once inconceivably unpalatable and undeniably compelling, has spawned numerous adaptations, most notably Stephen Sondheim's musical, now a major film starring Johnny Depp in the title role. So this early classic of British horror writing is edited by Robert L. Mack, author of a bunch of stuff, with an enticing introduction and timeline charting the history of Sweeney Todd. So at first I looked at this and I have never seen the movie, I've never seen the play. I know a little bit about it, but I did not know that this was kind of created from truth, from history, that they're back in the day, 1846 to 1847, that there was this story, rumor, something that was being published during this time period. So the fact that this is rooted in truth and in history, it totally got, I'm like, ooh, interesting. So that's kind of why I picked it up. I personally, I don't really like Johnny Depp. I like his old stuff, but if what the press says is true, that he's a jerk and a woman beater and an awful person, it makes me really not like him. So yeah, I have mixed feelings about him. But anyways, I just thought it would be interesting for the historical aspect of it mostly, and then who knows, maybe I'll like this a lot and I want to watch the movie and, you know, see the play and stuff. But so yeah, this is one of those that I was on the fence about, but I was like, you know what, it's 50 cents. You know, what do you know? Okay, this next one. So this next one I got for 2 reasons. First off, it's pretty, and second off, it's about Hemingway, and it's nonfiction. I love nonfiction. So it says, it's called Hemingway in Love, His Own Story, a memoir by A.E. Hotchner. So this is a cute little book, nothing major. It's so pretty, and I kind of have a fascination with Hemingway. I have some of his stuff. I've read one of his books. I have a collection of his short stories. He's just kind of an interesting figure, and I'm going to insert a picture, like, right here maybe. Right here, of him when he was young, because he was so hot. He was so hot. Oh my god. Look at him. Just look at him. He's hot. So anyways, so Hemingway. Look at how, it's just a pretty book. It's in such good condition, and let me read you what it's about. So it says, in June of 1961, A.E. Hotchner visited a close friend in the psychiatric ward of St. Mary's Hospital. It would be the last time they spoke. 3 weeks later, Ernest Hemingway returned home, where he took his own life. Their final conversation was also the last installment in a saga that Hemingway had unraveled for Hotchner over years of world travel. Ernest always kept a few of his special experiences off the page, storing them as insurance against a dry-up of ideas. But after a near miss with death, he entrusted his most meaningful tale to Hotchner, so that if he never got to write it himself, then at least someone would know. In characteristically pragmatic terms, Hemingway divulged the details of the affair that destroyed his first marriage, the truth of his romantic life in Paris, and how he gambled and lost Hadley, the great love he'd spend the rest of his life seeking. So that is a little bit about what this book is about, Hemingway in Love, His Own Story. First of all, I just thought it was really sweet. The whole idea of Hemingway being in love. I mean, obviously I knew he was in love, but I really don't know in detail too much of his life. And he is a very passionate, poetic writer, in my opinion. Yes, he's very succinct in the way he writes. And he has a famous quote that he says, like, write hard and clear about what's true, or write clear and hard about the truth, or, oh God, I'm totally butchering it. But he's a fascinating life. He's a fascinating figure and character. And to kind of, I'm curious about his love story. I'm curious, you know, to know what happened. And it's a cute little book, and I love memoirs. I love diving into people's lives, both fiction and nonfiction. So I'm excited about this one. This one was a nice little jewel that I found. All right, next one. Oh, I'm excited. Okay, so this next one is in really good condition. The Art of Racing in the Rain, a novel by Garth Stein. We'll say Stein. I don't know if that's how you say it. But, okay, look at the puppy. It's so cute. So, I'm really dumb, but I've read half of this before. I got it at the library. It's been on my TBR for so long. I've wanted to read this for so long. I read half of it. It was great. I stopped because I'm stupid. I do that sometimes. I really don't know why. But I stopped because who knows why. It could have been a mood I was in. I think this had to be returned. And so instead of like going through the trouble of renewing it and all that stuff, I was like, you know what, I'll just finish it later. So I was so happy to see this in the little store, and it's in such beautiful condition, and I can finish it. I'm so excited. Oh, I'm so excited. So if you've never heard of this book, let me read you what it's about. Okay, it doesn't really say. I might have to look it up on the GOODREADS. So this just says, yeah, this is not gonna, it really makes me crazy when books don't have the little synopsis on the back. It makes me crazy. It just has people's opinions, and I'm just like, I don't care what you think about it. I want to know what this is about. So give me a second. Let me look it up on the GOODREADS. Enzo knows he is different from other dogs. A philosopher with a nearly human soul and an obsession with opposable thumbs. He has educated himself by watching television extensively and by listening very closely to the words of his master, Denny Swift, an up-and-coming race car driver. Through Denny, Enzo has gained tremendous insight into the human condition, and he sees that life, like racing, isn't simply about going fast. On the eve of his death, Enzo takes stock of his life, recalling all that he and his family have been through, a heart-wrenching but deeply funny and ultimately uplifting story of family, love, loyalty, and hope. The Art of Racing in the Rain is a beautifully crafted and captivating look at the wonders and absurdities of human life, as only a dog could tell it. Oh my god, like, so cute. This is what I want to read so much more of. I want to read books from the point of view of animals, all kinds of animals, especially dogs and cats, and I want to be in their head, and I want them to talk like they're human, and that's what I want. I need more people to write books like this, or tell me if they exist, because oh, I eat this up. Like, oh, it's just, I love it. So yeah, this is just making me remember when I was reading this, and I read the first half of it so fast. Oh, I loved it. So I'm so excited to read this. Yeah. That'll probably come quite soon. So the next book I got is a book that I've always struggled with picking up, and I'm not sure why, but it's called Angela's Ashes by Frank McCourt. This is a very famous book. It was a winner of the Pulitzer Prize. So, I mean, I should read it. It's a memoir. And if I'm not mistaken, this is about the Holocaust. And I remember when I was in school that a lot of my fellow students had to read this. That it was assigned in class. And it never was in any of my classes, and I never picked it up, and I can't remember why. So when I saw this, I was like, you know what? I'm always trying to further my knowledge of the Holocaust, World War II, that whole era, and it doesn't hurt to add one more story. you know, and so I was like, it won a Pulitzer, like, it's gonna be great. So I needed to pick it up. What is this now? Oh my god, it was made into a movie. I didn't know that. Again, no little, you know, blurb on the back. Let me go to the Goodreads. Imbued on every page with Frank McCourt's astounding humor and compassion, this is a glorious book that bears all the marks of a classic. When I look back on my childhood, I wonder how I managed to survive at all. It was, of course, a miserable childhood. The happy childhood is hardly worth your while. Worse than the ordinary miserable childhood is the miserable Irish childhood, and worse yet is the miserable Irish Catholic childhood. So begins the Pulitzer Prize-winning memoir of Frank McCourt, born in Depression-era Brooklyn to recent Irish immigrants and raised in the slums of Limerick, Ireland. Frank's mother, Angela, has no money to feed the children since Frank's father, Malachi, rarely works, and when he does, he drinks his wages. Yet Malachi, exasperating, irresponsible, and beguiling, does nurture in Frank an appetite for the one thing he can provide, a story. Frank lives for his father's tales of Cuchulainn, who, I'm butchering that, I know I am, who saved Ireland, and of the angel on the seventh step, who brings his mother babies. Perhaps it is a story that accounts for Frank's survival, wearing rags for diapers, begging a pig's head for Christmas dinner, and gathering coal from the roadside to light a fire. Frank endures poverty, near starvation, and the casual cruelty of relatives and neighbors, yet lives to tell his tale with eloquence, exuberance, and remarkable forgiveness. Angela's Ashes, imbued on every page with Frank McCourt's astounding humor and compassion, is a glorious book that bears all the marks of a classic. Okay. So clearly I was wrong. For some reason, I thought this was about the Holocaust, and it's not at all. And part of me is a little relieved because the Holocaust is always very difficult to read about. But I'm intrigued. First of all, I mean, I've read what this is about so many times throughout my life, and I don't know why I never wanted to pick it up, and I don't know why I always thought it was about the Holocaust, maybe because of the ashes thing? I don't know. But it sounds really good. Like, oh my god, I'm surprised this never kind of like grabbed my attention, so I'm really glad I picked it up. And again, this is a part of history and a part of the world that I really don't know that much about. So I'm really excited to read this. This sounds so good and so sad and right up my alley. So I can't believe I thought this was about the Holocaust. It's not. Okay, next, let's keep it moving, ladies. All right, so the next, oh yeah, okay. So, all right, the next two books I found, I kind of got these on a whim. So they're called Prisoner of the Queen, Tales from the Tudor Court by E. Knight, and My Lady Viper, Tales from the Tudor Court by E. Knight. So ever since I watched The Tudors, was that an HBO series? I think it was HBO. So good, okay? That I became very interested in this time period, especially like the Tudor dynasty and all that stuff. So these books are kind of about that, apparently. I don't know which one comes first, but this is the one I picked up first. So it's Prisoner of the Queen, and it says, kind-hearted Catherine Grey knows well the peril of being born with royal blood. As Henry VIII's grandniece and one of the heirs to the English throne, her noble birth has doomed her to live among the schemers and seducers of the king's court, barring her from the peaceful life that she truly desires. After her sister fails to keep the throne and a new queen rises to power, Catherine finds herself surrounded by adversaries. Since Queen Elizabeth sees her as a threat and court conspirators see her as an ally, Catherine is forced to play a game she knows she cannot win. And when she reunites with the man she truly loves, Catherine has even more at stake. With treachery at every turn and the life she dreams of within reach, Catherine must make an impossible choice. Will she submit to the Queen's authority, or will she pursue love no matter the cost? So the cover totally sucked me in, and the fact that it's about this time period, and I love that. I love when authors will take a period, in history and take real people and kind of real events that happen and tell us the story, you know. And it might, a good part of this might be fiction, but that's fine, because I want to read this and be like, what could have happened? You know, how did this come to be? What are the conversations that they might have had? You know, I like to play that game. So I'm excited to read this. I don't know anything about it. I don't know if it has good reviews or not. I don't know, but it looked and sounded really good. I know a lot about this, the key players and the history of the Tudor family, so I'm excited to read it. So that's what that one's about. And then this one, My Lady Viper, I'm sure there are more. It can't just be these two. But this one says, I can't read this. Hold on. Oh, I can't read it. I hate when they do this too. They put stickers. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. This one might be before this. Yeah, I think this one happens before. So it says, when Anne Boleyn falls to the executioner's axe on a cold spring morning in 1536, Anne Seymour, something, stickers. Anne Seymour knows probably that she faces peril. Yeah. Aha. Anne Seymour knows her family faces peril. As alliances shift and conspiracies multiply, the Seymours plot to establish their place in the treacherous court of King Henry VIII, where a courtier's fate is decided by the whims of a hot-tempered and fickle monarch. Lady Anne's own sister-in-law, Jane Seymour, soon takes Anne Boleyn's place as queen. But if Jane cannot give Henry a son, history portends that she too will be executed or set aside, and her family with her. In desperation, Lady Anne throws herself into the intoxicating intrigue of the Tudor court, determined to ensure the success of the new queen's marriage and the elevation of the Seymour family to a more powerful position. Soon her I can never say this word. Soon her machinations, machinations is probably not right. Machinations. Machinations. I fucking hate this word. Soon her machinations, I don't know, earn her a reputation as a viper in a den of rabbits. In a game of betrayal and favor, will her family's rise be worth the loss of her soul? This sounds so good. I wonder how many other ones are in this series, because I like it already. And I hope it's not crap. I really hope it's not crap. You know, like, I hope it's not written badly. Oh, it doesn't even tell me. I'm gonna have to Google it. I'll look at it later. But anyways, I'm excited about those. Yeah. And the next one I found is I think it's just called Inferno by Dan Brown. I was going to say The Inferno. Inferno by Dan Brown. So this is actually a large print because, I have bad vision, but I don't need large print, but I do look in that section because you never know what you can find, you know? And I found Inferno, and this is a book by Dan Brown. I don't own it. I think I own The Da Vinci Code and Angels and Demons, and I don't own Inferno. I don't know if there are any other ones that he's written that are about Robert Langdon, but this one I've been wanting to read. I mean, it's kind of dealing with Dante's Inferno, so I mean, that's like right up my alley. So it says, Harvard professor of symbology Robert Langdon awakens in a hospital in the middle of the night. Disoriented and suffering from a head wound, he recalls nothing of the last 36 hours, including how he got there, or the origin of the macabre object that his doctors discover hidden in his belongings. Langdon's world soon erupts into chaos, and he finds himself on the run in Florence with a stoic young woman, Sienna Brooks, whose clever maneuvering saves his life. Langdon quickly realizes that he is in possession of a series of disturbing codes created by a brilliant scientist, a genius, whose obsession with the end of the world is matched only by his passion for one of the most influential masterpieces ever written, Dante Alighieri's dark epic poem, The Inferno. Racing through such timeless locations as the Palazzo Vecchio, the Boboli Gardens, and the Duomo, Langdon and Brooks discover a network of hidden passageways and ancient secrets, as well as a terrifying new scientific paradigm that will be used either to vastly improve the quality of life on Earth or to devastate it. So yeah, this seems really good. I really enjoyed the Da Vinci Code and Angels and Demons. And actually, out of the two, I liked Angels and Demons more, the book. But they were both really good. They were really good. So I can't wait to read this. It's pretty thick because it's large print. And I don't mind large print. And I'm just really glad that it has to do with the Inferno. So I'm excited I got this one. So it's that one. And then the last two I'm so excited about. So I already own somewhere. I don't remember where I put it, but I own the book The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo by Stieg Larsson. I think that's how you say his name, Stieg Larsson. And I found the other two books that are in like that series or whatever. The Girl Who Played with Fire and The Girl Who Kicked the Hornet's Nest. I'm so excited I found these. So I know that they're all like related. I don't really know what they're about though. And honestly, I mean, I saw The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. I saw the movie, but I never read the book. But I bought it. It's somewhere. I have it somewhere, and I want to read it eventually. And sadly, Stieg Larsson, he's no longer alive. He died. I think he only wrote these 3 books. Stieg Larsson, who lived in Sweden, was the editor-in-chief of the magazine Expo and a leading expert on anti-democratic, right-wing extremist and Nazi organizations. He died in 2004, shortly after delivering the manuscripts for The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, The Girl Who Played with Fire, and The Girl Who Kicked the Hornet's Nest. So this is the second one, and then The Girl Who Kicked the Hornet's Nest. And they're all like badass books. Like they're about this really cool girl. She's just such a badass. So like the second one, it says Mikael Blomqvist, crusading journalist and publisher of the magazine Millennium, has decided to run a story that will expose an extensive sex trafficking operation between Eastern Europe and Sweden, implicating well-known and highly placed members of Swedish society, business, and government. But he has no idea just how explosive the story will be until on the eve of publication, the 2 investigating reporters are murdered. And even more shocking for Blomqvist, the fingerprints found on the murder weapon belong to Lisbeth Salander, the troubled, wise beyond her years genius hacker who came to his aid in The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, and who now becomes the focus and fierce heart of The Girl Who Played with Fire. As Blomqvist, I know I'm saying that wrong, alone in his belief in Salander's innocence, plunges into an investigation of the slayings, Salander herself is drawn into a murderous hunt in which she is the prey, and which compels her to revisit her dark past in an effort to settle with it once and for all. So if you've never, I don't know why my nose keeps itching. If you've never heard of these books, go read them. They're so good. I mean, I started reading, I don't know what I did with it. I started reading The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, and it's so good. And I think I didn't finish it because I had just watched the movie, and so I was like, I knew what was going to happen, so I wasn't as interested. But now it's been a while since I watched the movie, and I totally need to dive into it because it'll be really good. So yeah, that's these. I'm so glad I got these. Woohoo! And then the last book I put way over here because I'm dumb. Because that's what happened. Oh, why did I take it over here? Be on me. The last book I found is Labor Day, a novel by Joyce Maynard. So this, I didn't even know this was a book. I saw this as a movie. And it stars Kate Winslet and that guy, Josh Groban? No, that's not right. That's not right. Wait, might be. Josh Brolin, not Josh Groban. Isn't Josh Groban that singer with the curls? I don't know. Anyways, I don't know why I said that. Anyways, so this movie was so good. Me and my sister watched it. We loved it. And it's a book. I mean, it was a book first, so I can't wait to read it. So I'll tell you what it's about. So it says a bunch of stuff because I can't see because of the stickers. Okay. At the end of summer, as the end of summer approaches and a long, hot Labor Day weekend looms, the life of lonely 13-year-old Henry Wheeler is irrevocably changed when he and his emotionally fragile mother show kindness to a stranger with a terrible secret. Now a major motion picture starring Kate Winslet and Josh Brolin, Labor Day is a poignant story of love, sex, adolescence, and devastating treachery. So, like, that doesn't really tell you a whole lot, but it's so good. It's like, from what I can remember, because I saw this movie, like, years ago, it was about this single mother and her son, And they're in this house, and I feel like they're in the South or something, and it's so hot. And they don't have air condition, it feels like. It's a very beautiful old house, but they don't have air condition. And they're like trying to get through this day. And then this guy somehow comes upon them, and they offer him kindness, and then he kind of takes them hostage. And they're scared at first because like he's on the run for something, but he's actually a really awesome, nice guy, and it kind of turns into this really weird like love story. I don't know, it's weird. I just remember the movie was so good, and so I cannot wait to read the book. The book's got to be amazing. So yeah, I found a good copy of it. So yeah, Labor Day by Joyce Maynard. And that is the last of my books. So I did good. I got, what did I say, 12 books for $7.50. That is so good. So the 3 nonfictions I got were $1 each, and the 9 fiction books I got were 50 cents a piece. So I love that. I love going to the store. And I can't go all the time because if I do, I'll just pick up so many books. But I mean, why not? They're, you know, they're so cheap. So yeah, woohoo, I did good. So I hope you liked this book haul. If you've read any of these books, let me know what you thought of them and your rating and everything like that. And yeah, I hope you guys liked this video. Please like and subscribe if you did. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye. I got 3 nonfiction and let's back up. I am into the Holocaust. That sounds awful. It was, why can't I talk today? It was published, unpalatable adaptation. Wait, oops, I skipped a second. What is next? Oh, did I? Wait. I thought.